That's not what I'm trying to copy. All right, everybody. Hey. So we just gonna go. There we go. Randomly down the line, I guess. And then how we're gonna do it is that. Sorry. Go live. How we're gonna do it? I say, yeah, I'm just gonna do it like that. So if you did what you're supposed to do on Instagram, then I should be able to fit everybody in the time that I plan on being live today, because it is Mother's Day weekend, y'all. I'm not being on here all night, but pretty much what we're gonna be doing tonight for our weekly live, answering questions, obviously. So whatever credit questions you got, of course, put them in the comments. And then we're also going to be doing live audits. So I'm not gonna have them share like the details of their accounts, but pretty much, and I'm going back and emailing everybody. Well, I mean, not emailing, I'm messaging everybody the link, and then I'm gonna just, I guess, let y'all in one at a time and just rock it like that. But hey, y'all, for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known on social media as the Money Plug. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. Sorry, I'm still sending the link out. Can't wait for my appointment on Tuesday. Girl, I can't wait for your appointment on Tuesday. But I use my platform to teach people, because I'm a credit repair specialist. And so I use what I know as a credit repair specialist and how I repair credit myself. And I teach you guys here on social media how to do it. Just because you can't afford to hire somebody, or just because you got trust issues and you don't trust hiring anybody, doesn't mean you're not entitled to good credit, right? So if you can watch a TikTok, you can fix your credit. That's kind of how we rocking with it today. Now let's see. Now, everybody who messaged me on Instagram, check your Instagram. Oh, I don't know what I just did. What did I just do? Ooh, what I just do? Oh, okay. Wait. I can't see. Oh, okay. So then when they come in, this is where they'll be, over here. Got it. So if you messaged me on Instagram, so pretty much what I'm doing now is just live audits and answering questions. So if you don't want to get on the call, that's fine. You don't have to. You can just put your questions in the comments and I'll answer them for you. I'm not live on Instagram right now, but I needed my phone to message the people. So I'm not live on Instagram. Let me see. Yeah, so I messaged everybody back, and now we just wait to see if anybody logs in. So we'll just do it like that. I need to stop playing and get on with you. My planner is still sitting. You are amazing. Come on, you got to start using the planner. You have to start using the planner at least. How do I do live with you? So if you follow the steps in the Instagram post, then you would have gotten a reply back to you like right now. You would have gotten a response back with the link to join the waiting room. Is what it say? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, and then it would. You can't do it on. I can't do it on Facebook because I'm not live through Facebook. I can't do it like that. I'm live through third-party software that shows on Facebook. I'll be a subject. LOL. Let's see. All right, so we got the first person. All right, let's see. No, make it. There we go. All right, let's see. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, I don't hear the echo no more. Do you still hear it? Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Okay, so hello.
Hey. I'm trying to get the camera part, but
you don't have to turn your camera. You do not have to turn your camera on.
Okay. So I pulled um uh, a recent one then from Smart Credit. Should I just start from there?
Yeah, we could. Hold on. I don't know why I hear you twice. Oh, because of TikTok. Mm, 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, say something else.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Perfect. I'm gonna take this out. Okay. All right. So let's start with, are you looking to make any major purchases within the next 12 months?
No.
Okay.
The only thing that I know for sure is probably in around May of next year, we're going to be moving back to Maryland, and probably the whole inquiry thing will be starting from there, from apartments. But that's the only thing.
And you said when will that be?
And around April or May of next year.
Oh, next year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Okay. Let's see. So, do you have any open credit cards?
7.
Are you using all 7 of them?
They're used for sure.
Oh no, you got high balances
Yeah, that's one of the problems. Yeah,
on all of them or just like a couple of them?
all of them.
Okay. What about any loans? Do you have any open loans?
4 Upstart loans.
Okay. Let's see. And for all, do you have a car loan?
Yes.
Okay. What about student loans?
No.
Okay. So with all the things that you pay every month, are you late often? Like, do you ever have any issues with being late?
No, it's all been on time. It's just a lot of minimum payments through it all, because
Okay.
throughout the Upstart alone, I think is around maybe 200 to 300 in a month between all 4 as payments.
Mm-hmm.
And then the minimum payments for all cards usually are between $20 to $60.
Okay. So in the last 12 months, what would you say is your how many late payments have you had in the last 12 months?
None, I think. I think my last one was 2020 in
That's
March.
really good. Okay.
It's just the collections that keep randomly coming around.
So how many is it?
3
And what are the companies?
collections.
Mm-hmm. Do you know
Um,
what that debt is for?
Progressive,
Okay.
because I was in the middle of changing insurances and I was going to get it taken care of, but apparently they sent it off before I could do anything.
Okay. Now,
Um,
what about the other collections?
First Point for our BGE and receivable management, patient first.
How much is
Um,
that one for?
that one's 484. No, 418. And then I have one for Verizon. So Verizon, Progressive,
BGE.
and on Verizon, Progressive, and Patient First. Those 3 got paid.
Okay, so First Point is the only one that's still unpaid.
Yeah, that 500, and that one's 524.
Okay. Now, when you did your other collections, did you negotiate pay to deletes, or was this like before you even knew that was a thing?
That was before I knew it was a thing. When I got the collection and everything, I logged into Verizon. I still had my access, paid that, logged into Patient First, paid it through their portal. I never talked or did anything with the collection company. It was all paid through the actual creditor site.
Okay. And how long ago did you pay these off?
Progressive was last year. Um, the Patient First was 2019,
Hmm.
and the third one, what was the third one? Progressive, BG, no, Progressive, Patient First,
BGE and Verizon.
Verizon. So Verizon I paid last year as well. So
Okay.
Verizon and Progressive both got paid last year, and then in 2020 I think is when Patient First got paid, and I was having a back and forth argument between United Healthcare and Patient First, and no one was trying to cover anything of anything. So I just said I'll just take care of it, just get rid of it.
Okay. So I can tell you now, first of all, just listening to everything, these high balances on your credit cards got to come down.
Yeah,
That is where the majority of your points are tied up because you got 7 credit cards and they're all maxed out. I know your utilization has to be sky high.
yeah, it's at
And
90.
that's a really big chunk of your credit score. That's 30% of your overall score. So what I usually like tell clients when they have high balances on their cards, because it's easy to be like, oh, throw extra money at it.
Yeah,
Wishful thinking. Like it's
right.
easy to be able to say that. But what I typically tell people is start with the card that has the highest interest rate. Since all of the cards are maxed out, start with the card that has the highest interest rate. Because if you keep making the minimum payment on that, it's going to take you forever to pay it down. Even if, let's say, you get like an extra $20 or something, somebody cash apps you some money they owed you a while ago, throw it on the card.
Okay.
Like, throw it on the card, throw it on the card because the interest is what kills most people when it comes to credit card debt. You want to
Yeah,
use your credit card, so I'm not going to pop you on the hands for using them because that's what they're for. But when it comes to every month when they go tell the credit bureaus on you, you got to pay that down as much as possible. You want that to be as close to zero as possible without touching zero. um Something else, and I forgot who I was talking to the other day, and I was talking to them, but something they did was I guess how they planned their bills out, nothing like they rent or anything didn't have to come out. So they took their entire paycheck and put it on the credit card. Their
that's what I
entire
thought
paycheck.
of doing. The only thing I've considered doing that, my only factor is I don't want one day we end up in another 2020 situation, and then I'm screwed because now the cars are racked up and I can't pay that again.
Right. So, but it's so mid. Why do you have 7 credit cards? Can I ask you that? I wasn't going to ask you that. Can I ask you that? Why do you have
So
7?
when I was 18, my parents had opened up CQ for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then from CQ, I paid off cards. And then in 2019, I had opened a Capital One secured Amex and Southwest Chase card. And I
Okay.
had those three. And then Merrick sent me an offer 2 years ago for a double your line thing. And I got
Okay.
that. And I guess I just kept getting roped into the marketing tactics. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Would you ever consider closing some since I mean you said you don't plan on making a purchase like immediately? Would you ever consider closing some?
Which ones would you believe?
Well, to make that decision for y'all because y'all know y'all spending habits better than I ever could. So you know which card offers you the most perks for the spending that you're doing. You know which one you like the most based off the relationship that you've had with them. But what I would suggest, especially because you're having a hard time maintaining the balances on all of your cards, once you pay it down some, make sure just kind of reevaluate where you are. It's okay to close cards you're not using because you can either do it now or they'll do it when you start missing payments or just not using the account at all,
Right.
because that's also grounds for closing your account if you're not using it.
Yeah.
So that's just something I definitely want you to take into consideration, because if you lower the amount of cards that you have, that's going to limit the amount of credit card debt that you're going to be in, because clearly using the card isn't the issue. It's just, staying on top of the payments and paying the balances down. But I can guarantee you the majority of your points on your credit report is stuck right there.
Okay. So it wouldn't even be worth going after collections, really. No.
Yes. So we're going to get to those now. So with the collections, because you already paid them, technically, there's no incentive for that company to be like, you know what? We'll go ahead and knock it out for you. Don't even worry about it. Like, However, that's not like a reason to give up. First, I always tell people reach out to them and see if they'll just do it. Be like, hey, I was going through my documents and I noticed that this debt has been considered paid in full. And I was told it will be removed after the situation was settled. Can you please remove this from my credit report? You literally don't lose points for asking questions. So
with the
the
with the
worst thing they can say is no.
with the debt collector or the original creditor?
The debt collector. Now I
Debt
can tell
collector.
you now, right off the bat, Verizon's not coming off.
Okay, I remember that
Like
earlier.
they one of them. They just one of them. I swear they give me the blues, but they're not going to come off. And you said the BGE was the one that's not paid.
Yeah, BGE just came onto the report. It said it opened 9/1/21, but
So
I
then you're
just
gonna want to do a debt validation first. Even if you know that's your bill and everything, just because you know the debt belongs to you does not mean that this company has the things that they need on hand to report or collect on that debt. So I
okay,
would initiate a debt validation just because that's a lot of money. So
yeah,
like if we could go ahead and get that taken down or taken off due to an investigation, that's fine too. And it'll also buy you some time to start kind of trying to pull together some funds to see if like all right if they come back and say it's valid and you offer them a settlement and they say all right but you got to pay right now, would you be able to pay?
okay,
So a debt validation is when you send a letter to the company and you're just saying, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you all are saying that I owe you a debt. What evidence do you have to substantiate your claim that I am the party that owes this debt? And so sometimes they'll send you stuff like a bill or like a usage statement in your case because this is a utility bill.
hmm,
That's not a debt validation. A debt validation has to demonstrate the relationship between you and the original creditor, the person that you signed the obligation to the debt for, right? So if they can't produce like a service contract or an application for service or anything like that, then they have not proven that you are the party that owes that debt, which means the debt is not valid and they can't report on it.
okay,
Now, when that happens, usually with like utility bills, sometimes hospital bills from like the bigger hospitals and stuff like that, a lot of times the debt will be sent back to the original creditor. And so you'll be able to contact BGE directly and set up a payment plan. When you're on the payment plan with BGE, as long as you're sticking to the payments, then
hmm,
they won't send it back to collections.
okay. Because they had a old forwarding address too, because they sent it to my parents' place,
Okay.
and so I didn't even know anything about it, and that randomly now has popped up like February this year.
Okay, so
And,
then definitely, you definitely
and
want to
so
do a debt
I don't know if
validation.
they know where I live now, but if I send the address or anything, is that going to mess up anything as far as like the address identification thing, or?
So, I mean, where you live now should already be reporting to your credit report. Any accounts, any open accounts you have. So it's not like you're adding a new address. However, whenever you send any dispute letters off, you want to make sure that you attach a copy of your. I usually do my passport, if my driver's license, because I'm military, so we move around a lot. So my license don't always have my current address.
Okay,
So I will usually do like my passport and a W-2 or you could do a driver's license and a copy of your bank statement or a driver's license and a copy of a utility bill or something like that. Just
okay,
something verifying that you are who you say you are and this is your new address.
okay. And then the for and BGE too. I didn't find out about the collection thing until I pulled the annual credit report thing for Equifax. But when I
Okay.
go to Smart Credit, it doesn't show a collection person at all, like in the top corner. But when I pull the actual report, I see the name, the address, and everything. So I
So
don't know.
that's an issue. You might have to pull up when you pull up your 3B report, it just has no name right there at all.
No, it has the There's no name, but it has original creditor BG Baltimore.
Okay. That's honestly just sound like a software issue, like they just missed a part
Okay.
when they pulled the report. As long as the biggest thing is that you were able to identify what that debt is for, because that's another kind of huge red flag. If a collection just pop up and you can't tell me where it came from, like you don't know where that amount came from or where the account came from, then that's an issue because then that can also signal identity theft.
Okay.
So as long as you know exactly where it's from and you know that, and it's really good that you do know the details of the account because let's say you send the request in for debt validation and they send you something back and none of the information matches. That's an invalid debt because
Okay.
you know that this is not correct. So that's why another reason why it's important to kind of just know what's reporting at all times or what has the potential to report.
Okay. And I logged in there as far as I'm still lost. I think kind of about the data first delinquency.
So the data first delinquency, a lot of times you might not, depending on how old the account is, you might not see it on Smart Credit or annual credit report. You might have to reach out to the company directly and request a copy of your payment history. And in that payment history, the first missed payment that led to the charged off status for the account, that's the data first delinquency.
So when you're saying missed payment, do you mean like what the bill due date said?
Mm-hmm. No,
Okay.
so usually it's 30 days after that. So they can't report you late or that the payment was missed until the 31st day after the payment was due.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes it easy to calculate then. Okay. Perfect.
What other
then.
questions you got for me?
That's pretty much it. From my end. Yeah, the partner had the other email, but I just sent his email over to talk to you from there. But that I'm all right on my end. You've helped me tremendously.
Okay, so I mean, you already on here, so we can do his right quick if you want.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys said no major purchases for the next year. How many credit cards does he have?
He has 3 because we no 2.
I have two in my name, but then
Oh yeah, so I have an American Express preferred card. I haven't had any late payments or anything on that, so I added him as authorized user.
Perfect. That still
So
technically counts as 3 accounts, so that's good.
so he has that one, a Credit One card, and a Capital One Platinum secured card.
Okay. Are these relatively new accounts? Like, how long has he had them?
So
they're new.
Yeah, the Credit
Oh, I
One.
can just ask you. You sitting right there. Okay. So these are new accounts.
Yeah, they're new.
Okay. Like less than 2 years old, new.
Oh
yeah, November and February.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't know if it counts or not, but Chime has their credit booster card thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of those also. I don't know if that counts.
Yes, that counts. That's so good. Okay. Okay. Chime. All right. What's your balances look like? Do you have high balances on those cards?
No, not really. I think the Credit One has.
That one's paid off.
Oh,
That one, your Capital One secured one is though.
Is a high one.
Yeah.
So that would be. I think there's 200 on the Capital One.
And what's the credit limit?
200.
200, yeah.
Oh, so it's just maxed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Amex one is mine at 500, and he uses the card and I use it. We have separate ones.
Okay, perfect. What about any loans? Do you have any loans open?
So he was the one I was talking about earlier of just got the car, so that's going to be coming tomorrow for that. But so we're about to start that one up. So the car is about to open up.
Any student loans?
Badly.
Yeah.
That he's in rehabilitation for that one.
Oh, okay. So that's perfect.
So hopefully by December, there's a lot of late payments and stuff in that.
And so they'll be flipped once he completes all the steps and stuff, right?
Yeah, and that'll be done by January, which will be perfect. And then the only other thing is he has a repo on there.
Okay.
How
long ago was the repo?
December 19th, 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, because it was before we moved.
Yeah, 2020. But the thing is, it's funny, and I'm kind of just all confused about it. So they have an address from when he lived in Pennsylvania. He moved down to Maryland in 2019 with me. We changed apartments in 2019 all the way through 2020. They still had his old address. He never updated. He wasn't making the payments. I didn't know anything about that. And then suddenly he went outside to go to work one day, And this is like it's a gated community and everything, but he went outside to look for it and the car was gone and we didn't know what happened. And I was like, well, the only thing I can think of is let's call your bank and see what's going on. That's when we found out it had been repoed. But I was like, how did they find out where he was or anything like that? But that was all confusing with me because I watched your previous live regarding illegal repos. So I was like, I don't know if any of that falls in that category
So
or
in order to claim an illegal repo, you have to have proof that they committed some kind of crime. So first of all, you need to look up your state's laws regarding repossessions and specifically things like disclosures. They're supposed to send a letter before this, and the letter has to say specific verbiage.
they
They're
sent us
supposed to.
the letter that they sent, but it was to his old address. And then once we paid
Was
off,
that the address on the account?
yeah.
Okay.
And so he didn't update the address or anything. But
But I mean, it's a couple disclosures that they have to send both before the account is even considered for repossession of the property and after the fact. You really got to go through those documents and really go through them because a lot of times either the verbiage in the contracts are written wrong, that they did not submit disclosures in a timely manner, or they violated one of your rights that hindered you from recovering your vehicle.
okay.
That's how you identify an illegal repossession.
All right.
The other thing that is confusing too is when we look on the credit report, we see that, but it's still saying that like it was repossessed like April of this year.
So it's still reporting every single month.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not.
So that's a violation as well. That's called a false manipulation of the date of last activity. A lot of companies do that to keep resetting the time that they have to sue you until they decide on what it is they're going to do. And you do see it a lot with repossessions. Because repossessions, they know all they got to do is show up in court with a copy of the documentation from the dealership and they can win that case. And so they'll keep doing that to force you to have to dispute it at some point if you really want to get this thing taken off and taken care of. Or they'll just send you a court notice like, surprise, like, come here, let's talk for a second. But that is grounds for a dispute. You do have a case. So it really boils down to what are you comfortable doing? You can either go ahead, do a debt validation, because now the validity of this debt is in question. Not on top of, you don't even know how they got access to your property because it's considered private behind a fence. The disclosures, you never received any of them in time. And a false manipulation of the data last activity. All of these together, I feel is enough for you to go through the dispute process. But in the event that you lose this dispute, you also run the risk of being sued.
So in that thing of being sued, the car got repoed December 18th, 2020. And then we paid the bank the remaining amount to close it out and got it back on the 19th of 2020.
So do you still have the car and then like you guys traded it in when you got the new car?
Yes.
Oh, dispute the hell out of that. What? Ain't no money tied to it. You better take that shit off my credit now.
Or nothing. So that's why I was like, I don't know what they're gonna sue.
Yeah, so it's really different when you still owe money because a lot of times, especially with repossessions, you be owing like $9,000-$10,000 still after they sell the car. So with that's why I really be sometimes with kind of trying to tell y'all to go ahead and dispute it. But you didn't already paid if the car's gone, sold somewhere else. Go ahead and dispute. You got more than enough evidence for a legitimate dispute because it's reporting inaccurately.
Okay. I was sitting there on the live earlier when I was speaking to you, going through the whole ESSA bank thing or the bank for the loan. Another weird thing was there's a section on the loan that says payment frequency, and TransUnion says monthly every month, and there was nothing else on the other two. And then it said 72 months under TransUnion Experian, and then 267 as a payment amount on Equifax. So it's just like a lot of various things.
This is considered factual disputing. So any little thing that's off on your credit report, technically you can use for a dispute. But you also got to kind of take into account, is this really enough to get this taken off? Like, am I causing enough of a ruckus that now they're like, well, wait a minute, maybe this is not a valid debt? Because when you launch an investigation, they have two options. They either have to update or remove it. But update is always the first option. So if it's little stuff that they can change until they get it perfectly right, they'll do that just to kind of keep stringing you along. So you really got to pick your battles. Do you think that's enough to get the account completely removed?
Okay. The what? Because so I've heard methods too of it all, where it's like some people have said like doing investigations of like just I need you to look at this, and then um they'll say it's accurate. Look again. Say it's accurate again, and then you tell them to dispute. Then some people just go straight off the bat,
So
straight
that,
to.
yeah, because that proves willful non-compliance, which is you gave them time, you gave them notification that something was wrong, and they still chose not to make the changes. They chose not to provide any evidence to substantiate their claim to this debt. Therefore, they violated my rights by continuously reporting and attempting to collect on a debt that the validity was in question, and that's a violation of your rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which justifies the removal.
Okay. And after the two and everything, could you do CFP, or does it have, or should you still,
Yes.
or you
So
just actually?
ultimately, what I tell people is when you're disputing, obviously the goal is always to get it off, but you're either going to get it off or gather enough evidence to file a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau complaint. The
Okay.
letters that you send back and forth, and this is why I tell people don't skip steps, because all of that adds to your case. I sent you guys 5 letters. That's 6 opportunities to make changes. You still chose not to and told me to just deal with it, essentially. That violated my rights. And I have proof with all these letters and responses.
Okay. Because I was sitting there thinking about the whole dispute process. I was like, I can do it twice and then go straight up to the CFPB, but I didn't know if I should do factual, and then if factual comes back wrong, then.
So then if the factual come back and that don't work, then you can move on to Metro 2. And if Metro 2, you do that and that don't work, you find something else. You don't have to give up. You
Okay.
don't. Just because one method didn't work doesn't mean that you're stuck with it. It just means you just kind of got to change how you're thinking about it.
Okay.
You got any more questions for me?
That's it?
For me, it was a car loan because the date keeps changing to
Yeah.
like the current month.
I figured there was something off there for it. And that's another thing. So it's been, sorry, it's been 15,847 for the longest time. And then 2 months ago, it's at 88. And so the original loan balance on the contract is 15,758.56 or 750. Yes, no, 757.56. So I think they took that 8 after the decimal and rounded it up after all this time.
That's another tactic that they use. So a lot of times, some debt collectors, especially when you're getting close, well, not in your case, but for other people watching, a lot of times if it's getting close to the time that technically the statute of limitations is going to run out, they'll make a subtle change, something really, really small. But if you're paying attention to your credit, you'll notice it and you'll be like, you know what, I'm going to dispute the hell out of this. And you dispute it, and then it'll come back and validate it, which resets the clock for them if they do decide to pursue you in court. So little stuff like that is not uncommon. It also could just possibly be a mistake when they were reporting that month. But again, it's still grounds for a dispute.
Okay.
You
Just
can still
probably
dispute that.
manipulating data in that letter. Okay. Okay. That's all I want to go from, because they changed up a lot of things between that and the internet collection. It's been doing that of changing dollars up and down. And I'm like,
They're just trying to bait you into disputing it. That's it.
okay.
And then, whenever an update is made to an account as well, this is also considered another false manipulation of the date of last activity, because any activity on the account to include the update of the amount that you owe can reset the statute of limitations. So that's a whole mess of, you got to dispute. You have a legitimate case.
Okay. So date of last activity, I thought only payments can change
No,
that.
that's you're thinking about the reporting time.
Okay.
Reporting time, the only thing that can change how long something reports, which is 7 years, the only thing that can change that is the payment. Now, with the statute of limitations, any activity on an account, if they call you and verify that this phone number is tied to you and you're the person they're looking for, that can update the date of last activity and reset the statute of limitations.
Dang. Okay. They know how to work systems. All right. Well, that's good. That's all right for me.
Yeah, I'm okay. My biggest
Yeah.
concern was the car loan.
Okay. Well, thank you.
No problem. Y'all got any more questions? My email address is on the TikTok, and you can always DM me on Instagram.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Righty. I seen a couple questions. Hold on. Somebody said, do you think settling a charge off would make it easier to delete? No, I do not. Remove those is if you can identify an inaccuracy in the way that it's currently reporting to the credit bureaus. Paying it kind of validates the information that's reporting, because a payment validates an account. It validates that debt. And so I don't think that paying it will make it easier to delete. However, paying it is the best option if regular disputing didn't work. So let me make sure. Oh yeah, I know I'm not live on Instagram. I was using Instagram on my phone to message people the link. Let's go to the next person. Using Instagram on my phone to message people the link.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, hold on. Let me
You gotta turn your thing
TikTok.
down.
All right. Yeah, you can go outside.
How you doing?
Yes. Good. How are you? I watch you all the
good.
time.
Oh, for real? Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit.
My my first biggest question is in regards to a charge off from Santander. I was going through like the payment history on it, and it shows like the date of last activity from one credit bureau to be in 2017 and the other one from 2018. I wasn't sure if that's like a legitimate reason to.
Is it like December, January, or is it farther apart?
They are, let me look at it really quick again, because I'm pretty sure it's pretty far apart. So sorry, let me look. Hey, come on. So one shows like in May, and then the other one shows the last activity to be in January of 2018.
Yeah.
So in May of 2017 and then January of 2018.
That's the grounds for a dispute, because that means that somebody else, the payment history is off. The date of first delinquency, that's the first missed payment that led to the charge off. So if the first missed payment was in May of this year, it definitely can't be January next year unless y'all reporting extra payments that I never made.
Right. Okay.
So one thing you can do, so like let's say you go ahead and you submit your Bureau investigation letter and it comes back as verified. Something that you can do, instead of doing a complete debt validation, since you know specifically what's wrong, you can request a copy of your payment history, and then compare it to what the credit bureaus is saying. Like you'll print out a copy of your credit report and highlight where it's incorrect. And I want you to hold on to that for your notes, because then you'll do a debt validation. The debt validation means they're going to do an investigation. And if they don't make the correction after the completion of the investigation, then technically you already have a case for willful noncompliance.
Okay, so send a letter to the bureaus for the validation of the
verification.
First.
So the first step is always verification. With the verification, you go to the credit bureaus and you say, hey, did you mean to report this like this? This gives the bureaus time to correct any mistakes that they've made. And they also go to the creditor and say, hey, listen, you sure you meant to say this? Because they coming at me and looking at me kind of crazy. And so then they're supposed to investigate and then make whatever change. And if they're not making changes, they'll be like, no, that's verified. And so then you'll get a letter in the mail from each bureau with a new credit report, and it's going to tell you whether or not the information was deleted, updated, or verified. And if it came back as verified, that means you gave them the opportunity to correct their mistake, and they did not. So now you're going to, one, prove that you're right by requesting a copy of your payment history directly from the company. And then two, you're going to launch a formal investigation through the company themselves, the data furnisher, the people who make the information. At the completion of that investigation, if they still haven't made the change, you have your whole case right there for the CFPB that they're not doing investigations.
Okay, cool. So I only have like maybe 3 collection accounts, and most of them are just gonna fall off. So I'm not too worried. But my other concern is I only have 2 credit cards. I'm okay with just having 2. I'm just trying to build some type of credit, but with that, it doesn't really kind of seem like it's moving or doing anything. And I didn't know if that's just because of the collections holding me back, or my credit utilization is typically just like under 30%. Like right now it's at 24.
So, okay, so let's back up a little bit. All right. So how many credit cards do you have?
Just 2.
2. And they're both maxed out?
No.
No.
They're under 30% right now.
30% a piece or 30% altogether?
Altogether, kind of. No, because Capital One is 33%.
Okay, so 30%
So I probably
a piece.
could pay a few more dollars and it'll be completely under 30%.
Okay. What about loans? What kind of loans do you have open?
So I don't have, well, my loans are student loans. They're still in good standing. I just finished with them, and so there's not any, they're still showing as a good payment history on those.
Okay. No car loans, no nothing else?
Yes, I do have car loans and never don't have any missed payments on that at all. I just got a car last year, so that's still pretty good too.
Okay. And then how many collections did you say it was?
3 collections.
Do you still have the charge-offs reporting on your credit or no?
Yeah, it's still on there.
Okay. How many charge-offs do you have?
1 charge-off. I do have a repo. That's a part of the collections too.
Okay. All right. And you said your score is just kind of like stagnant, not really getting nowhere.
Yeah. So it was at like a 643, but then some random collection just popped up about 1,500 from Quest Care. I don't know where it's from, so I haven't really dug into that one as of yet. But when that came up, it dropped me down to like a 620.
For that debt, you're going to want to do a debt validation for sure. And a debt validation, again, you're just asking for the evidence associated with the account. So what do y'all have that make y'all think I owe this money? They have to demonstrate the relationship between you and wherever it is you got this debt from, as well as a breakdown on the amount, like an itemized bill in a sense. Now, depending on how they respond to that you could kind of go a couple different ways with that. But the first step is going to be send them the debt validation letter to see if they can even prove what that $1,500 is for. Now, with the repo, is it a high dollar amount? Oh, snap. Where'd she go? Hold up.
Oh.
Hello? Oh, snap. Where'd she go?
Yeah, it kicked me out, but I'm back.
Okay.
But
so with your repo,
so the remaining balance on that is 12,000.
I was trying to ask without asking. Okay. Okay, so do you want to pay it?
Absolutely not.
Then leave the repo alone. Just thinking off the top of your head without looking at your documents, do you remember anything about the process of your repossession that seemed illegal?
Honestly, no, because I was the type of person, once it started happening, I just froze up and didn't want to communicate.
Then I personally would not touch it. Are they actively pursuing you for the repossession?
No, I haven't heard anything, so no.
Girl, leave them people where they at. Like, all right. And then this kind of brings up the conversation of people who are obsessed with the idea of the perfect credit report. Like, sometimes it just doesn't happen. It's life. So even so, just thinking, let's say you get all these other collections taken care of and you're just stuck with the repo. So then your focus after that should be, because you already have some positive history. You got the student loans, all on-time payments technically, car loan never been late. You got the credit cards, and even though it's at 30, that's still relatively low credit utilization. So you got good information there. What you're going to want to do is add more accounts to your profile to kind of bury that repossession. I'm gonna get to what kind of accounts in a second, but if I was you, I would not touch that repossession.
Okay.
Unless you actually had evidence to substantiate your claim that this just not a valid debt, or if you could identify something that they did that made the repossession illegal in and of itself.
Okay.
So
I
what's
do
the
have a
other-
question before you do that about the charge off. It falls off in like 2 years supposedly. So I'm worried about disputing it.
For which charge off?
The just the charge off I was telling you about, the Santander that's showing that the date is in May and then the other one is listed in January.
So then you didn't, if you're not comfortable disputing, I always tell people then don't. Because at the end of the day, I can say whatever I want, right? I'm not the one who got to deal with the consequences if it does come back as valid. But even if you dispute it and lose the dispute, that does not reset the reporting time for that debt. So it would still fall off in that time period.
Okay.
It's just that if you poke the bear and they take you to court, or if you poke the bear, that could reset your statute of limitations, and that would give them the right to take you to court. And then you end up having to make a payment.
Okay.
So it really boils down to how far you're willing to take it.
Even if it reports as 0, it shows that I owe nothing on the charge off.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay.
wait. I'm confused now. So it's Santander Inc. So you don't owe Santander directly. You owe a different company, but the actual repossession for the vehicle is still reporting.
Okay, so Santander is the first car loan. It was charged off, but the balance on there reports as 0.
So the two accounts not related.
So there's one, So there's one,
okay,
and then I have a completely different one.
Oh, okay. So no, with Santander, you ever made a payment to them?
No, never. I honestly think it was a part of like some lawsuit a couple of years ago they went through.
Okay. So then, girl, I mean, if you want it taken off, you can always dispute it. Try to identify an inaccuracy. That inaccuracy you told me with the dates is enough to dispute it, and it'll probably come off because of what happened. A lot of people were able to get it removed due to the lawsuit.
Okay.
Now with the other account, because they separate. Now and this was the repossession, and you was like, no, it's $12,000, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah, leave that one the hell alone.
Okay.
Now, what about the other collection? Because you said it was the repo and then 2 other collections, but we talked about one.
So the other 2 collections that I have is it's a medical bill, that's like $200, and then there's like a Verizon bill of $500.
Wait, say that again.
I have a medical bill of $200 from 2019, and then a Verizon bill of $500 from 2018.
Ooh, I can tell you, Verizon is not going to remove themselves from collection.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about companies. It's Verizon and Sprint when it comes to like phone bills, but they don't necessarily send their debt all the time out to collectors. They'll send them out to debt management companies, to where they're hired on behalf of Verizon. So it's like Verizon is reporting on your credit. Even though it's the original creditor, they're saying that they're the ones kind of collecting the debt. And so they'll tell you that they have an obligation to report the fact that the account went to collections, because this isn't one of those accounts that report every month regularly. Does that make sense? So they just kind of get their kicks out of reporting as a collection. Even if you pay it, it's not going to come off.
So I could even negotiate a pay to delete with them?
No, you can try. I always tell people it never hurts to try, because you never know what it says on their end. It could be one day when they pull your account up, they see that they accidentally said something to you they were never supposed to. And boom, you can get it taken off. Now, if they sell it, because a lot of times with Verizon, after a while, they'll end up selling it to a debt collection company. And then now if another company purchases your debt, then it'll go by that company's policy. But if Verizon hired a debt management company for your account, like on your credit report, if it says Verizon, then yeah, that's not coming off.
Okay. Well, it's a little weird because TransUnion shows Verizon, but through Equifax it shows Jefferson Capital. So
Oh, Jefferson Capital do pay the deletes. Girl, nah, Jefferson Capital got that. It could be that, they sold the debt to Jefferson Capital and then debt just hasn't been updated to the credit bureaus. It could be that. But yeah, Jefferson Capital do pay the deletes.
okay, so I'll do that then. I'm okay with paying it.
And then with the medical debt, just do the debt validation first.
But that one won't fall off with the update because it's under $500.
I thought you said it was $500.
No, Verizon is $500. The medical
Oh,
bill is
okay.
$200.
Oh, well, yeah, it is gonna fall off then.
Okay.
I would now when I tell you as far as the repossession, I told you like maybe you should look into adding some accounts to your profile, just to kind of like distract from the repossession. So the repossession has missed payments, as well as like late payments if you were ever late on the history of the account, right? And so by adding accounts that's only reporting positive history, you're kind of burying that stuff up under the rug. And I typically tell people, you want to add accounts that's not going to cause too much of a fuss. So prepaid credit cards. I personally prefer like the Sesame Cash card or Extra. They have a debit card, or the Chime credit card. These are guaranteed approvals, so you don't got to worry about credit inquiries at all because they don't check your credit. There's no fees, there's no interest associated because you're not borrowing anything. They work just like a debit card. You put money into an account and then you spend the money that's in that account in order to generate on-time payment history for that month. And it'll just add another line of credit on your credit report. It doesn't affect your credit utilization at all because they're not extending you credit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
However, it will add that on-time payment history that could really help give you that boost that you need.
Okay.
Another one is I don't know if you rent or what your living situation is, but if you rent or if you can get a rental agreement, you can report your rental history to your credit report using a third-party service. I prefer BoomPay because they report to all three credit reporting bureaus. But it's whatever you're comfortable with. There's a couple of them: Rent Reporters, Rental Karma. It's a couple different ones, so pick whichever one you're comfortable with. But they'll allow you to report your rental payment history every month, as well as they'll go as far back as 2 years, I think it is.
Okay. Do I have to go to the leasing company to just?
No, for the most part. I know for a fact BoomPay is all done through your bank account. So if you pay out your bank account and they identify how much your rent is and they see that payment coming out every month, that's it. That's all they need.
Okay, that works. That's perfect. Okay. Well, those are my only other things. I mean, I have like 18 inquiries on
now,
here.
With the inquiries, that was from when you were car shopping?
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah.
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to write down every account, every inquiry that's tied to your credit report that you actually opened up an account with. And then all the ones that are left over, you're going to go ahead. You can either send one letter to each credit bureau, or you can send each letter to each individual company that requested a copy of your credit. And what you're going to do is you're going to play on something known as the law of permissible purpose. This means that a company has to have evidence that you gave them permission to run your credit. And a lot of times, especially when you go car shopping, they don't really keep nothing like that on hand. You ain't get the loan with them, so they just don't care. And so you can say, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you all are reporting an inquiry that I don't recall. Can you please provide me with a copy of the authorization that you received from me saying that you had permission to view my credit report? If the evidence cannot be provided, this inquiry must be removed from my credit report as soon as possible.
Okay. And that's in your kit, right? Because I
Yes.
can't remember that. Okay. Okay. And I don't have any public records, just those 7 accounts. And
you don't even got bad credit.
No, I want to get a house.
You do have a thin credit file. I always tell people, think of your credit report like a sandwich. If you went to Subway and they gave you one piece of meat, you'd be pissed, right? Add a little bit more to your credit report, just a little bit.
Okay, so I'll try the Chime cards and I'll try the dispute, but yeah, I'm still leery about the Santander, but I'm definitely trying since you said enough for something. And there's a zero balance, which to me is
so it's not like they're going to take you to court. They're going to take you to court for what? You don't owe nothing.
Right. Okay. I trust you. All right.
Well, if you start working on it and you got any questions, I'm always here. Don't hesitate to shoot me a DM on Instagram or email me, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All righty. Let me see if I got any additional questions. But they have to be paid, I thought. Yes, with Jefferson Capital, with any pay to delete, you have to pay to get it removed. But you gotta pay. What company is that? I think you wrote that when we were talking about Boom Pay, the company that reports your rental history. I really like them. All right. Let's see. How do I go about consolidating my student loans? I want to start paying them off. When you want to consolidate your student loans, the only people, I guess, who can help you are like if they're federal student loans, you're gonna have to go to the federal government. They have the most accurate and up-to-date information on consolidating your loans and stuff like that. There's a federal student loan aid website that you can go to talk about consolidating your student loans. What were the cards to build credit you was telling the last lady? So the prepaid credit cards that I suggest, like my top 3, the Sesame Cash card. What else? Sorry. The Sesame Cash card, the extra debit card, and then the Chime credit card. Now with Chime, what I will say is they do require a direct deposit of at least $200 in order to qualify for their credit builder card. No, we're talking about prepaid credit cards. We're not talking about that right now. They do require a direct deposit in order to qualify for the credit card, but once you actually get the account, you can switch a direct deposit right back over. And as long as you're putting money into the account and actually using it, it will report that on-time payment history that you need. And something else that I did not tell her, but there is an app that will allow you to take your subscriptions and things like that and report it to your credit report. It's called Altro, ALTRO. Look it up. Does Boom Pay work with military housing coming out as an allotment? Yes, because I live in military housing and it works for me. Self does build credit. The Self credit card builds credit, but that's a regular credit card. It's not a prepaid credit card. The reason why I suggested prepaid credit cards to her is because she was already doing a really good job with keeping her credit utilization low, and she wasn't having any issues with it. So we didn't want to alter it. But she did need accounts that report that on-time payment history. And so I felt like those accounts could help her. What verbiage do I need to use in order to get a pay to delete letter? I typically tell people when you're reaching out, it's literally, listen, if I give you this, will you stop reporting to the credit bureaus? Now, how you say it is completely up to you. Typically what I write, and it'll say, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you are saying that I owe a debt. However, I don't recall anything about this debt. However, I do need to get this taken care of as soon as possible. So I'm willing to give you X amount of dollars in exchange for you to stop reporting to the credit bureaus. Now, keep in mind, if we cannot come to an arrangement of some kind regarding payment, I will then be forced to ask for a debt validation, to which, they got to prove that this is even a valid debt in the first place. Because you tried to be nice at first and they didn't want to take it. There is a pay to delete letter. I want to say it's like $5. I want to say the pay to delete letter is like $5 on my website or something like that. But you're literally saying, hey, in exchange for this money that I got right here, right now, can you stop reporting to the credit bureaus? One other quick question. I made a payment from the wrong account and the payment returned onto my Amex card. So when I try to apply, that pops up as one of the adverse actions. Is there a time that will stop reporting? After that account stops reporting is usually when that'll come off. Like around that time. But as more and more time passes, that won't have an impact, or it won't have as much of an impact, I feel, on their decision. So I'd have to get a whole new Amex card. Yeah. I mean, what you mean? I'm confused now. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, they're not going to allow you to... Wait, so I'd have to get a whole new Amex. I thought you were applying to get a new Amex card. I'm confused now. I thought when you said when you try to apply, that meant you were applying for a new Amex card. But return payments typically report for the life of the account. I will say that. I was trying to change my preferred to go. Oh, okay. So no, you don't. I mean, yeah, if it's updated, obviously you're gonna get a new card. But like you don't have to open up another Amex account, like a separate account to qualify. You just got to give it time to build that rapport back up with them. All right. Oh, that was it. Oh, okay. Anybody else want to go? Oh shoot, it's been an hour already. Jeez. Oh my God. I didn't even know it's been that long. Let me check. Yeah, no problem. Let me check. I really wanted to be off of here by 9 o'clock. Okay, I'll answer a couple more questions and then I'm getting off because it's Mother's Day weekend and I love y'all, but I'm ready to get spoiled like the best mom in the world that I am. I'm ready for my macaroni, picture frames, and my breakfast in bed and my bath that my kids gonna run me. I'm ready for all that. What's your question? Come on. I got you. What's your question? Listen, it's the only time of year they appreciate me, okay? So I'm gonna go get it. No, for real, time did fly. I really did not feel like I've been live for an hour. Usually I feel drained by now. I don't see no more questions. Y'all ain't got no more questions? Going once, going twice? All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. Y'all know how I do. I'm not going back live again tonight, or I won't go live for the rest of the weekend. So I'll see you guys on Monday or maybe Monday for sure. I'll see you guys on Monday. Y'all know what I always say. Live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills or wear condoms just in case it's not. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I have a collection on my account that are adding a balance. Before I get off, so if they keep adding to the balance that they're trying to say that you owe, you need to first evaluate the contract that you have with the original creditor, because if you authorize the reporting of interest, no, even then it would have been added in the beginning, not at the end. Yes, you can do an audit with me if you go to my website. Give me 2 seconds. It sounds to me like they're illegally adding interest, but you want to be sure. So make sure you get the details associated with your account and your state laws regarding collections, just to be sure. And then once you verify that they are illegally adding interest to your account, that is grounds for a dispute and grounds for them to actually remove the account. It's closed and charged. So it's not a collection. I'm confused. You said it was a collection and now it's a charge off. So is it a collection or is it a charge off? And for those of you who don't know the difference between a collection and a charge off is a debt that was with an original creditor. So like Capital One, Credit One, First Premier, Amex. And then you stopped paying or something happened, you missed payments, the account was charged off, closed and charged off. Now, once an account is closed and charged off and the debt still belongs to the original creditor, it's just considered a charge off. If the original creditor, so you'll see down there where it says past due balance usually, if that all is zero and they're saying you don't owe them any money and then it populates by a new company, that charge off has been sold to a collection company and now you owe the collection company. If it's closed and charged off, it is likely that you are still accruing interest for what you owe. Again, you're really going to have to check the verbiage on the contract that you signed with that creditor to be sure. That is the only way you can know 1,000% for sure if they are even authorized to charge you interest. And if they are not, that is, you can use that as grounds for a removal. But you gotta get the documents first. So go through your records, and if you don't have anything, request a debt validation so that you can see what they see. Okay. For those of you who want to do an audit with me. Audits are usually a little bit more detailed. I didn't want them, because I don't really know how to control the screen sharing or anything like that yet. So what I didn't want was for them to send me copies of their credit report and put all their business on social media. However, when I do a credit audit with a client, I sit down with you guys and we scrub your entire credit report. I'm looking at addresses, I'm looking at phone numbers, we're looking at dates, things like that together, so that not my biggest I want the biggest takeaway from the audit to be that you can explain to me what's wrong with your credit and how you plan on fixing it. It's not enough for you to just throw money at people and just be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, you do it. I really want you to understand what's going on. Why is it illegal? Why is this a violation? Are you entitled to money for this violation? So that's what I want you to take away from the appointment when we do audits, as well as it'll give me a better picture of the entirety of your financial history, so I can suggest accounts that would really benefit you specifically and your profile if adding accounts is what you need to be doing. Or if you don't need to be adding no new accounts, then I can go ahead and tell you that too. So in order to schedule an audit, my TikTok name is themoneyplug.co. That's my website. So if you go to my website, you can go to become a client. You see two options, either full service credit repair or a credit audit, and you can book it like that. But I'm going to go ahead and cut out of here, you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support and stuff this week. It was a really rough week trying to bounce back from being sick. Let me tell you. So thank you for your patience this week. So when I'm looking at closing cards, thinking maybe better to keep the ones that's actually providing perks. Yes. I always say the ones with the perks, you got to keep those. If it's not offering you no benefit for the money that you're spending, then why would you keep the card? Remember, when you guys have credit cards, they're not for emergencies. They're supposed to replace your debit card. They're supposed to reward you for the spending that you're already doing. This is another reason why I tell people, make sure you really evaluate what you're spending your money on before you go adding these cards to your credit profile just because you see everybody else got it. Make sure that it's offering you perks based off of your spending habits. So I'm a foodie and y'all know I can't cook, so I love eating out. So I know that I need to have at least one card that offers me some cash back or some points or something eating out at restaurants or DoorDash and stuff like that. So, for me, that's what works for me. But if there's somebody who travels more, spends more money on like airfare and stuff like that, then that'll be something they would be interested in. So make sure, and if you're not sure what you're spending your money on, print out a copy of your last bank statement that you received. So it's like 30 days worth of transactions, and just categorize your spending for that month. And that's going to tell you what you're spending your money on the most. So it'll help guide you when you start looking at those cards that provide perks and things. The audit is $100 and it's usually 60 minutes, but it lasts longer if you have one of those credit reports. I try to give you as much time as possible to not only really go over your credit report, but to ask all the questions that you have. But I'm getting off of here for real, y'all. Thank you guys so much for all the support this week and for all your kind words and recipes for teas. Let me tell y'all, because I wrote them down. And I will see all of you Monday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And to all the fathers, please love on your mother a little extra hard because she raised you. And I'll see you guys on Monday.